underneath to Wilt. He slam dunks it.
There's not a player, center playing today that could stop Wilt Chamberlain scoring.
Chamberlain soars for the rebound. He scores over Russell.
Just physically, he was bigger, stronger, faster than anyone's ever played.
Into Jabbar. Jabbar against Wilt. Batted away by Wilt.
Players talk about players that could dominate the game, but I think Wilt was the only player that could dominate on both ends.
Chamberlain looks for a cutter. 8 the timer.
You open up a record book, and what do you see? You see Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt with a finger roll.
That was in awe of Wilt Chamberlain. Of course, I remember being in college when I got the newspaper, and the newspaper said that he had scored 100 points. Well, I thought it was a typographical error.
Rebound to Wilt Chamberlain. The big captain's mad.
I describe Wilt, and I mean this sincerely, as one of the world's great athletes. And I'm talking about in the history of time.
Wilt, the dominant force. A production of NBA Entertainment.
It wasn't always nice to be, you know, a 7-foot, 14-year-old kid. A lot of stairs, a lot of people going through their little things, and having friends like Vince and so forth, I think, helped to ease those pains.
When we entered Overbrook, Wilt was immediately a success. He was 6'11" at the time, and he made the varsity team right off the bat.
We kind of had a thing, a chemistry. These 4 or 5 guys who I played with, about trying to make ourselves better basketball players. When you're a little kid, you see little kids play basketball, they're always just shooting the ball. But that was not as important to us as doing the other things. We never would go out and shoot after we went through our little drills. And all of our drills always incorporate a lot of running.
As a high school athlete, Wilt Chamberlain is more than just tall. His unorthodox training sessions will help presence on the court and lead Philadelphia's Overbrook High School to a 3-year record of 58-3. He does not merely dominate games. His achievements shatter previous concepts of stardom.
There were many amazing things that he did, but I think one stands out in particular, and that is the day that he scored 90 points in a high school game, which was truly amazing.
And in 10 minutes, I scored like 62 points, you know. And now 62 points in 10 minutes, I laugh about it because, Jesus, you know, that's a lot of points. That's a lot of time getting up and down the court, especially when the team you're playing against is trying to freeze the ball.
Wilt spends his high school summer vacations working at a resort in the Catskill Mountains. His salary is $13 a week plus tips, which he shares with a friend as they develop a unique method of handling luggage. The energy he saves by not climbing stairs is spent on the practice court, receiving personal instructions from coaches such as the Celtics' legendary Red Auerbach. While still in his mid-teens, Wilt competes against professionals in summer games and is not outclassed. Subjected to the largest recruiting frenzy in college basketball history, Wilt chooses Kansas over Indiana and Dayton, in part because his mother favors the Jayhawks' academic program. While handling a full course load, Wilt is also able to form lasting friendships.
Today, if I had a problem that I couldn't handle by myself, and I would think of one person that I might want to call and have come to my aid, it'd be Wilt Chamberlain. He jumped in the KU relays. I jumped in the KU relays one year. I can remember with a little red Scottish hat on his head. Won the KU relays. Hadn't practiced high jumping for a long time. The first game we played against Northwestern when we were sophomores had an outstanding center by the name of Joe Ruckler. In that ball game, Wilt had 52 points and 31 rebounds and shut down Rucklick as if he had not played the college level before.
When I was young, I was really skinny, but I was always strong. I was blessed also with, with speed. Now, you don't think of a guy who's 7 foot tall having a whole lot of speed. But when I was young, I got a great deal of pride out of trying to race whoever was the fastest guys on our team.
In 1957, Wilt is the nation's most famous college player as he leads the once-beaten Jayhawks against undefeated North Carolina for the national championship. Hounded by a collapsing defense, Wilt and the Jayhawks trail at the half, but the contest evolves into a triple overtime battle with heroic efforts on both sides. Every basket Wilt scores is with tremendous effort, but as the final seconds count down, the Tar Heels protect a 1-point victory. Their team effort, dedicated to stopping the dominance of one man, has been successful.
There was no way that anybody was going to stop Wilt or shut him off. And what we just tried to do was limit the capacity of the number of points that he would score.
These teams couldn't compete or didn't want to compete with me as an individual player, so they would just take and hold the basketball. And here was a guy who loved to run and wanted to run and shoot, and I thought maybe it'd be more individual type of playing against me, but every team always just put 4 guys around me on defense, or 3 guys, and then when they got the ball, they would hold it. So it kind of got to be boring basketball in my junior year, and I decided to forego my senior year and go out and play professional basketball.
Frustrated by his inability to win an expected NCAA title by himself and not yet eligible for the NBA, Wilt enjoys a year of world travel with the Harlem Globetrotters.
When you're a kid, I mean, a black kid of that, the Harlem Globetrotters are like heaven. You understand? I mean, I watch guys like Andy Johnson and Goose Tatum and Marcus Haynes. I mean, to play with those guys? Are you kidding me? I grew to love those guys. I grew to love playing with them. If it wasn't for the challenge of just playing with the best players in the world, I would probably never left the Globetrotters.
Warrior owner Eddie Gottlieb finally signs the man he drafted out of high school as a territorial choice.
I think there will be a period of orientation for me across like it is for every newcomer in the NBA, but I think in the long run I'll be able to handle myself man-to-man with almost anyone in the league.
Wilt's poise and confidence quickly impress veteran teammates that he is not just another rookie.
No, not in the true sense of being a rookie with all the rookie uncertainties. I think Wilt has always been, and rightfully so, very conscious of his own ability. And he just fitted in like a veteran. I don't know if he had any very close friends on the team, but that's, Wilt went his own way. We saw Wilt at practice, and we saw him at the games, and then he went his own way.
Wilt is encouraged by Warrior management to make headlines and attract fans. He responds by averaging 38 points and 27 rebounds a game, and is named both Rookie of the Year and Most Valuable Player.
He's far and away the best player I played against. I mean, it's not even close. I remember our first encounter during the regular season. I remember I had a real good game, and I thought he had a real good game. We won the game. But I learned a real valuable lesson that night. It was like in the middle of the week, and I was spent emotionally. And the next 3 games, I wasn't very good.
The confrontations between Wilt and Russell will last for the next 10 seasons and be considered one of the most intense in professional sports. The media will fail to understand the different roles each man is asked to perform for his team, as well as the depth of their personal relationship.
You had the best 2 centers in the game of basketball going at each other tooth and nail. I think the media, unfortunately, made it more of a hated rivalry than it actually was. Wilt and Russ had a relationship that was carried beyond playing basketball. I can remember situations where we go to Boston, and Russ would be at the airport to meet the team, and he'd take Wilt to dinner, and I don't know if the teams do that now.
Every time we played Boston, we knew it was going to be tough. And I'm sure when they played us, they knew it was going to be tough because both were good teams. There was a natural rivalry that was, again, built up by the media more than it should have been between Wilt and Russell because in those days they were good friends.
The rivalry is overshadowed when college coach Frank McGuire is hired and gives Wilt the chance for a legendary season.
I asked him how long he'd like to play, and his answer was forever. I said, no, well, how long do you want to play in a game? He said, I never get tired. Then I said, you'll play all the games? He said, yes. He played overtimes, 3 overtimes in games. And he ran as fast and everything else. But he's just superhuman.
This incredible season, in which Wilt averaged over 50 points per game, reached its zenith in the Hershey Arena before just over 4,000 fans.
I had not had an hour's sleep, not even a moment's sleep. I lived in New York City. I had to commute from New York to Philadelphia to catch a bus to there for 11 or 12 o'clock. And anyone knew me at that time, I had insomniac, and I never really went to bed before 4 or 5 in the morning. And so sometimes it's better just to stay up and just keep on going. Plus, it was toward the end of the season, and I had a date that night before, and so everything led to me not having a night's sleep.
It was not uncommon for Wilt to get 70, 75, 60 points that year, so you got used to it. And I don't think I was aware of how many points he had until the end of the game.
It was just one of those games, and we didn't make a conscious effort, contrary to what people think. We did not make a conscious effort to get the ball to Wilt until late. Zink was doing the game. And somewhere along the line, he started counting off every point, for instance. And now that's 80. And now that's 82. And I think somewhere along the line, we started, but what happened is the Knicks started fouling everybody.
Once we realized that he was scoring so many points, we don't want him to set records against us. Our strategy was, anytime the ball goes into Wilt, let's foul him.
The whole second half, hardly anybody else took a shot on Philadelphia. And in fact, it got to a point where they were deliberately fouling us, like in the backcourt to kill the clock so that they could get the ball back again. And to me, that just tarnished a little bit a performance that was so super.
Guerin is fouled by Luckenbill. 1 minute and 1 second to play. Chamberlain at 98. He can make it easily.
My teammates were really the real heroes of the 100-point game. And I'm not saying that because it's really a nice thing to pat your teammates on the back or give them the credit. Without them deciding that they want to see Wilt Chamberlain score 100 points, and I don't think they did it for selfish reasons of they want to be part of history or however, whatever. I think that they were showing me that really they respected what I had did all year long, and this would be the icing on the cake.
Rodgers throws long to Chamberlain. He's got it. He's trying to get up. He shoots. No good. The rebound, Luckenbill. Back to Chamberlain. He shoots up. No good. In and out. The rebound, Luckenbill. Back to Rucklick. Into Chamberlain. He made it. He made it. He made it. A different dunk. He made it. The fans are all over the floor. He's proud by it too, but the hometown of Hershey.
I just don't think it will ever be duplicated. And I think that record and the 50-point record, I think are two that are just going to be out there. They're just going to be there, and you can kind of put those in loose sight or whatever, just leave them stay over there, and that's it.
Despite Wilt's assault on the record books, the Warriors are sold and moved to San Francisco for the 1962-63 season. A new coach is hired. Paul Arizin retires. Fellow All-Star Tom Golan is traded to the Knicks, and the team suffers through a losing season. But 1 year later, new head coach Alex Hannum and top draft pick Nate Thurmond help Wilt renew his rivalry against Bill Russell and the Celtics.
For some odd reason, they think that they should compare Bill Russell with Wilt Chamberlain simply because he was on championship team. People think it's this great duel between Russell and Chamberlain. It may have been a duel for Russell to have to worry about trying to stop Wilt Chamberlain, but I had to worry about playing against the Boston Celtics, who's the greatest basketball team of my time, maybe of any particular time.
Although Wilt averages over 34 points a game in his first appearance in the NBA Finals, San Francisco is defeated in 5 games. Boston's 12-man roster of All-Stars includes 7 future Hall of Famers. The Warriors are no match for Red Auerbach's deep and powerful Celtics, who claim their 6th consecutive NBA championship. Hospitalized for 6 weeks in the fall of 1964, Wilt is sluggish at the start of the season, and at the All-Star break, he is traded to an old rival, the former Syracuse team, now relocated in Philadelphia and renamed the 76ers.
The 76ers, as far as I was concerned, were the old Syracuse Nationals, which was a team I hated.
Despite his misgivings, Wilt will turn the Sixers into a contender, gaining confidence in the playoffs as they battle the Celtics in a memorable 7-game series. In the last seconds of Game 7, Wilt's dunk cuts the Celtic lead to 1 point. Then an unusual break sets up one of the NBA's unforgettable moments.
Greer's putting the ball on play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over.
2 seasons later, the 76ers have built a team balanced and powerful enough to erase the pain of many past defeats. Wilt will be the foundation of what will prove to be a legendary team.
It worked out well for me. It was one of the greatest things that ever happened because we end up having, to me, the greatest basketball team that ever performed on the hardwood in the NBA. And of course, the guy who tutored that team was Alex Hannum, who was just a fiery competitor. He got the best out of the whole team.
It was a powerful team. Physically, we were awesome as far as strength is concerned. And of course, that started with Wilt in the middle.
You got this team and me in the center, and we've been together now for a couple of years. It just all really came together. I think our first 44 games, we were 41-3. The key word there is chemistry. Each guy knew his job and made it happen well. We had the ultimate in a power forward in Luke Jackson. This was a guy who was as big and strong as anybody in the world, with a touch as soft as you can possibly have. We had the greatest one-on-one player that I've had the pleasure of seeing in Chet Walker playing the other forward. And now you go to the guard position, and we start off with a guy named Larry Costello, who had a great 2-hand set shot. And then Larry Costello got hurt, and we brought in Wally Jones. And Wally Jones was just what we needed. Plus, he shot some 40-foot falling down on your nose, head, one-hander that we haven't figured out yet.
Hal Greer was a jump shooter like had no equal from medium range.
He shot his jump shot from the foul line when he shot fouls. Then you have something that had just started to become established in the NBA, and that was the sixth man, and that was Billy Cunningham. And he came off the bench as a white boy from Brooklyn with 5 black guys. I mean, it was incredible.
The 1967 Sixers achieved the best record in league history, 68-13, while the Celtics attempt to defend their unbelievable string of 8 consecutive NBA titles. The 76ers never allow Boston a glimmer of hope. For the first time, Wilt's team has the talent and depth to demolish their rivals. The series is over in 5 games, ending with a runaway victory in Philadelphia.
The season was very rewarding to me because we were so powerful, and we just destroyed the Celtics, who had, had that decade all locked up.
That was the year that the fans got on the thing that Boston is dead. It was unbelievable. It was probably the most thrilling moment in my basketball career.
Hannum's skillful blending of talents produces what many will call the greatest team in NBA history. As the Sixers savor the taste of triumph over the Celtics, they are only 4 victories away from the NBA crown. The relentless Sixers keep focused on their goal as they overwhelm San Francisco in 6 games. A new NBA champion is crowned for the first time since 1958. Swarmed by his euphoric teammates, Wilt no longer has to hear he can't win when it counts. He has proven to be the leader of perhaps the greatest team of all time. The next season, Wilt leads the NBA in assists, an astounding achievement for a center, but misfortune strikes the team at playoff time.
We weren't the same team. You know, we just physically weren't there. We were decimated with injury.
Injuries to key players, coupled with the assassination of Martin Luther King on the eve of the Eastern Conference Finals, leaves the Sixers undermanned and unfocused. Their short reign as champions is over. In the summer of 1968, contract negotiations in Philadelphia break down, and Wilt is traded at the age of 32 to the Lakers.
I knew that I was now coming to a team that was loaded with superstars of their own, Elgin Baylor and Jerry West, to name the two most consummate pros of our time, along with Oscar Robertson and Bill Russell. Of course, this was in the twilight of their careers, and as far as I was concerned, it was in the twilight of mine.
As the playoffs begin, the Lakers are heavily favored in the Western Division. They boast three of the game's greatest players, yet on the surface, their success as a team is deceiving. The difficulty of blending the skills of a trio of superstars, each with his own ego, is overlooked as first San Francisco is defeated in 6 games. Then Atlanta is steamrolled in 5. Expectations are high in Los Angeles since the Lakers have played in 5 NBA Finals during the past decade and lost to Boston each time. At last it is felt LA has a center to match Bill Russell. For Celtic stars Sam Jones and player coach Bill Russell, this series will mark the end of their playing careers. The veteran Celtics, who finished a distant 4th in the Eastern Division during the regular season, shocked the Lakers by battling even in the first 6 games. But with the home court advantage in the deciding, LA seems invincible. Although Wilt balls in 27 rebounds, the anticipated Laker romp does not happen. Boston is determined to prevent a Lakers celebration and races out to a commanding lead. Laker coach Bill von Breitkopf is livid as his team shows only occasional flashes of fire in the first half. But with 5 minutes left in the game, the Lakers have cut a 17-point gap to 9 when Wilt twists his knee and hobbles to the bench. After agonizing minutes of treatment, Wilt is ready to return, but von Breitkopf decides the team can complete its comeback without him. In this ultimate clash of egos, the only winners are the Celtics. In the final frantic moments of the game, Don Nelson's hurry jumper seals the Lakers' fate. The Celtic curse continues.
I just think that every year that we played them, that they had the best team, with the exception of the last year, the year that Russell retired and they beat us. When we had Wilt Chamberlain, I thought we had a better team then. But all the other years, I thought they had the better team. But in a playoff series, anything can happen.
The real frustrating part, I think, was when people started demeaning Wilt Chamberlain simply because his team couldn't compete with the Celtics. They weren't good enough, except on a couple of occasions. Boston simply had more good players.
A torn knee tendon in the 9th game of the 1969-70 season sidelines Wilt for almost the entire year. When he returns to action, the only real change in his game is the headband he now wears, a habit picked up playing volleyball on the beach during his injury rehabilitation. As the playoffs begin, Connie Hawkins of Phoenix, an old friend from the New York City Summer Leagues, leads the Suns to a shocking 3-1 advantage over the Lakers. Unbelievably, Los Angeles is at the brink of being eliminated by a second-year expansion team. But starting in Game 5, the Lakers regroup. Utilizing their superior talent and depth, LA is able to rediscover their rhythm of playing with Wilt in the lineup. First, Phoenix is defeated, then Atlanta is swept as LA advances to the NBA Finals again. All the elements for a memorable series are in place. New York replaces Boston as the Eastern champion, and the media spotlight shines with great intensity. A new rival for Wilt is Willis Reed, whose quiet strength is the stabilizing force of the Knicks team personality. The series is tied at 2 games apiece when fate intervenes in Game 5.
Top of the key to Reed. He's triple team, falls down, and Willis is hurt.
I was thinking, well, there goes the championship. Willis was the backbone of the team, and without him, I didn't see any way that we could contain Chamberlain.
New York's initial shock at losing Reed is replaced with a controlled frenzy as they surge back from an 18-point deficit and claim a crucial victory.
They seemed to have the intellect and knew when to go to one guy and when not to. They knew how to milk a situation to its utmost. Their head was in the game stronger than any team I've ever played.
The frustrated Lakers learn again that the presence of great talent does not always make a great team. Meanwhile, a major new threat to Wilt's domination at center has made his presence felt. The anticipation surrounding Lou Alcindor is greater than for any rookie since Wilt, and Alcindor quickly establishes his place as a major talent inside the paint. As a teenager in New York City, Alcindor had looked up to Wilt.
I befriended Kareem when he was young, and I think he liked me, and we did a lot of things together. I never taught Kareem a thing about basketball. All the basketball he learned in others. And now when I played against him, though, he presented to me for the first time in my career of basketball a guy that I felt, at least at my state at that time, that I really needed some help to guard. Whether he will admit it or not, he wanted to try to prove to himself and to the world that he was a better scorer than Wilt Chamberlain. What is a better way to prove it than when you go head-to-head against that guy is to outscore him.
The following season, Kareem is joined by veteran all-star Oscar Robertson as the Bucks move into the NBA's Western Conference. The Big O takes command of the Bucks, and his leadership propels them to the league's best record. The 1971 Western Conference Finals. Wilt is 4 months from his 35th birthday. His young rival is days away from his 24th, and the series will belong to Milwaukee.
One of the greatest players ever. Very, very physically imposing and dominating player. Offensively, when I started playing against him, he was past his prime as an offensive player. I think the widening of the lanes kind of really bothered his game a lot.
You get the ball in close, you take one step in, and you like Kelvin Campbell.
The 1971-72 season brings change. Former Celtic Bill Sharman is the new Laker coach.
Or if you got a shot before you complete the play, take it.
And only 9 games into the season, Elgin Baylor decides his 38-year-old knees can endure no more pain.
Elgin, who liked to drive the middle a lot, and he also had lost a step or two, was really having problems.
In a blaze of glory, an average career-wise 27 points a game, the third greatest scorer in the history of the game, at only 6'5", the fourth greatest rebounder in the history of the game, 10 times an All-Star. Ladies and gentlemen, to make a presentation of his jersey to the Laker owner, Mr. Jack Kent Cooke, here is Captain Elgin Baylor.
Ironically, the day Baylor retires, the Lakers begin the longest winning streak in NBA history.
And Bill Sharman became the latter-day coach while I was there. We amassed numbers that they were unbelievable.
Starting on November 5th, 1971, the Lakers will not be defeated for over 2 months. With 2 superstars in the last years of their glorious careers and a bench comprised of journeymen role players, Los Angeles will win the next 33 games. In the absence of Baylor, Wilt is able to dominate the low post, and the other Lakers blend their games together and play as a unit. A very good team suddenly becomes invincible.
As that streak progressed and grew game after game after game, no matter what took place in the game, at some point during that game, we as a team collectively would figure out a way to win.
Everybody was asking, well, when are you going to lose? And when are you going to lose? And it really got to be a mental thing about now we almost would hope we would lose a game so we could get off of this when we're going to lose wagon.
The question is answered in Milwaukee. Having adopted a new name prior to the season, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ignites his team as the Bucks erase a second quarter deficit and put the Lakers' streak in jeopardy. Wilt's looming presence in the middle sparks a short Laker comeback. But the 8-week magic spell is dashed by the NBA's defending champions.
When we went into Milwaukee and played Milwaukee on that 34th game and they beat us, I'm glad it was Milwaukee because they were a team that was capable of beating us.
I thought the world had stopped. I didn't know that this was part of the NBA that you were supposed to lose. I mean, this was phenomenal that this team could go that long.
The disappointed Lakers are still 39-3, and the Bucks' momentary elation will not last through the playoffs. Milwaukee has finished 6 games behind the Lakers, as Los Angeles sets an all-time regular season record of 69-13. The determined Bucks open the conference finals with a vengeance. Although Wilt and Kareem continue their individual battles, the Lakers are never able to get in the game. Los Angeles is embarrassed with their lowest scoring playoff effort in team history. But as Game 6 in Milwaukee begins, the series has shifted in the Lakers' favor 3 games to 2. Wilt is determined to prove the Lakers will not fold under pressure and sets the tone at both ends of the court for a gritty fourth quarter comeback. Los Angeles shatters a 10-point Milwaukee lead, along with any dreams the Bucks have of repeating as NBA champions. Instead, it is the Lakers who sense it may be their time to claim ultimate victory. Laker fans have been disappointed 7 times in the NBA Finals during the past 11 seasons. The team has a score to settle with New York, who are without the services of injured center Willis Reed. Finishing his 13th NBA season, Wilt is still a dominant presence around the basket. After a flat performance in Game 1, the Lakers use a fortune and hard work to take control of the series.
We did not have this awesome talent, but we played well together. Bill Sharman, who was an incredible winner and an incredible basketball player in his own right, instilled within us something that we needed.
Wilt was obviously much stronger. He was bigger, he was stronger, he was a different kind of player. Wilt was he just did what he wanted to, offensively and everything else.
Although the Knicks maintain their composure, the outcome is never in doubt.
When I look back on that year, the one thing that I've always watched in other teams that have been great, those teams seem to have something special. It's an invincible feeling. You don't think you can lose. No one can beat us.
Chamberlain played well, and they were just on the top of their game. There was nothing we could do. Everything we did, they seemed to do better.
The Lakers complete their season to remember in 5 games. And as the final seconds count down, the 12-year wait for Jerry West and the rest of the Laker organization is over. For Wilt, his role in the championship season earns him new respect.
The press was all over Wilt, and Wilt couldn't do anything right. And I sort of felt that, they may be right in there. And I changed my mind when I had a chance to be with Wilt with the Lakers. I said, this man is such power. Maybe it was the fault of his teammates. But this guy, he's such power and such a great guy to work with that I just totally turned my opinion around to say, I was wrong before.
That was a unique team. The sad thing about it was an aging team. Chamberlain, myself, the best days of our careers were over, but it was really fun.
For that Laker team to do what they did, I still think that they did more in the game of basketball than the other teams for the talent that they had.
After a summer to savor his second championship, Wilt returns for his final NBA season. He is still a dominating presence. At the age of 36, Wilt leads the NBA in rebounding, sets an all-time record for field goal percentage, and is second in the league in minutes played.
If was conscious about thinking about, is anyone going to break this record? I'd have probably put that record way out of sight.
Most of Wilt's basketball records are out of sight. He remains the most physically dominant player in basketball history, whose immense skills have set marks that will never be equaled. Basketball will never see his like again.
If he played in the league at this point in his career, when he was 25, 27 years old, he would lead the league in scoring, he would lead the league in rebounding, he would lead the league in block shots. This man was a man for all ages.
Wilt can go back in the NBA today at his age and be one of the 5 top centers. I really feel he could.
Chamberlain would have dominated the game more so today than he did then.
I honestly think that if I played right now versus my time, I'd average 70 points a game.